more about self-discovery than anything else. You put down that drink or drugs, like, you have no choice but to learn about yourself.
Okay, ready.
So I think it's important to kind of start from the beginning and just a little bit of background. I'm half Italian, my father's from Italy, and half French Canadian, right? And the culture is very much, very centered around drinking. So I was exposed to it really young. Like my nonno, which is my Italian grandfather, used to make homemade wine in the basement, right? And he used to, like, when I was like 10 years old with my cousins, we would drink with the family, but it would be like half wine, half ginger ale. We called it nonno's Coke, and it was very controlled. So I was exposed to it really young, but I felt cool. I didn't like crave it by any means. And even like in, high school, I wasn't like, call it a big drinker. Yeah. Like I drank on weekends and parties, like everyone else, right? And yeah, I'd get a little carried away sometimes, be overserved and, blackout and stuff like that. But like, I feel like everyone was doing that at some point in their, mid-teens, late teens. So the teenage years is more about like fitting in, right? You want to fit in with the cool kids, the crowd, and just, have fun and enjoy. So like, that's what I did in my teens or like high school, was to fit in. And then when I went to university, I found that I had like slowly created this character, this person, this like life of the party image that I had to maintain, where I felt that I needed to be animated. I felt that I needed to like be, a bit more, in people's faces, like loud, kind of like that cocky, arrogant kid. Like that was me in university. And again, it wasn't like that out of control. Yeah, it wasn't good. Yeah, I partied a lot. But it wasn't that bad. Things really accelerated for me when I came back home and I moved out and I started living on my own. That's when things took a turn. And what really accelerated that was when I got introduced to cocaine. When I started doing drugs, it just really made things more complicated for me. And, when you're doing that stuff, like you're becoming another person. And I was just putting myself in like really difficult situations. I was really letting myself down, really letting those around me down, just wasn't functioning at my best. But here's the thing. Because I was able to keep a good job, I had a good job, corporate, big tech sales company, global company, I felt like, hey, Luke, like you're working your ass off. You have this amazing job. On top of that, I worked in real estate. Some weeks I work, 60, 70 hours a week, no problem. So I felt like, Luke, like you have a lot of things, you're doing a great job. This is what you do. You work hard and you party hard. That's what you do. It's like, that's normal. So I lived that lifestyle for a long time. Look, when you have the highs and lows that you have drinking and using drugs, the lows become lower and the highs are really high. So it's like that inconsistency of the ups and downs. It was just draining. And I was just, tired of just feeling like shit, right?
I don't want to wear them. I don't want to wear them in the snow and the slush.
Yeah. So you're saving them for spring.
For like this.
Yeah.
Like this type of weather
is perfect.
I just knew it wasn't going to end well. But I was self-aware enough to know that something needed to like change. So I was doing therapy, working on moderating my drinking. So that was something that I was really focusing on at first.
Mm-hmm. And how did moderation go?
We know how that goes, right? We're like fooling ourselves. If we're fooling ourselves, like we can do that. And we talked just before we started, right? It's like the 0-100. Like I'm very much like a 0-100 person. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it 100%. So like if I'm gonna drink, like why would I have 2 beers if I can have 8? And if I can introduce drugs and feel that ultimate high, like why would I not do that? Well, I was definitely not an everyday drinker. In fact, I never drank alone. And I never drank every day. I never craved alcohol at all. I could go weeks at a time without drinking, no problem. But it was as soon as I started drinking, watch out. And really at the core of that was I struggled with social anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety about social situations, because of this character, especially because of this character I created. That's like, if I were to go out to a party, a wedding, a celebration, even like a corporate event, and I wasn't that animated character, I felt like I needed to be that character. In order for me to be that character, I needed to drink. And that's where like the people pleasing came in. I was so concerned how others looked at me to be this fun Luke, this crazy guy Luke who says inappropriate things, focusing on making other people laugh, always caring about other people, not how I'm feeling. And I did that for years, and that's tiring. There was a pivotal moment for me, okay? It was 2016 around Christmas time, okay? It was actually between Christmas and New Year's. I had a really bad night, okay? A really bad night where I, just really embarrassing, woke up just feeling absolutely, horrible, so much anxiety. And it was just a feeling that I was just so used to, but it was different. And I knew I had to do something different. So what I did was I went on Google that morning, feeling like shit. And I Googled therapist in Toronto. And I found one on College Street, okay, who I emailed him within 2 hours. He responded December 27th, between Christmas and New Year's. Most therapists aren't working. This person was working, and I was able to see him within 2 hours of emailing him. So we went in and got to know each other. He got to know me pretty quick, and he said like something to me that I just needed to hear. Okay, and I'll tell you what he said. He said, "Luke, you can never be drinking again." And then after the meeting, I went in my car and I sat in the parking lot in my car, and I just couldn't stop crying. I was just crying, because I knew that what he was saying was like there was something there. There was something there. I kept saying, like, Luke, you can't expect to be doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. I knew something needed to change. So for me, this was such a pivotal moment because I never had anyone in my life talk to me like that. Something that I don't take for granted, and I'm so proud of myself that I didn't necessarily hit that bottom where I lost my job, my girlfriend left me or wife, whatever. I'm really proud about that because it takes a certain type of person to like catch yourself before it's too late. Don't get me wrong. All those stories that we see, those friends that I've been making who have hit that bottom, they're in the hospital, they're in jail, all those incredible stories of comeback and resilience, like that is so powerful, like incredibly powerful. But I never related to that, right? And that's part of what's made me so vocal is that I didn't hit that typical rock bottom. So I want to show to other people that you don't need to have any worse days, any more blackouts or embarrassing things happen to you. My why was that I didn't want to put my kid through a family or through a dad who's struggling with alcohol. I had an amazing dad, amazing father, amazing man. Everyone loved my dad, but he struggled a little bit with alcohol. And I just didn't want to put my kid through that. So that was my why. I wanted to be this parent, and it was strong enough for me that it kept me on track. I definitely didn't do it right. I made it harder on myself. I did. So I did 2 group sessions, and then I saw this new therapist twice. And after that, I cut it all out and I did it all on my own. And I struggled a lot. I just wasn't using, which I felt good about, but I wasn't I had no identity shift. I struggled with my identity, and I was just kind of like going through the motions. Like I was definitely surviving. I was surviving, but I wasn't thriving in any which way. I was ashamed of my sobriety. And it was just hard to live like that. And I just had so much guilt still and regret, and I just hadn't grown. And you think about that, it's like, that's the beauty of this whole thing is like, once you recover, you're going to grow into this person. And I hadn't done that. There was a pivotal, a big anniversary, sober anniversary that came up. It was my 5 years, something about the number 5. I had picked up long distance running 2.5 years before that. and I had been running and training for, to qualify for the Boston Marathon, which is a big goal of mine. I qualified, and it was right around my anniversary, January, where I was like, Luke, like, take a second and just be proud of yourself. Like, you've done good here. And I was like, you know what, Luke, you're going to do a post on LinkedIn, and you're going to make it a public post, so you don't have to be my friend. I want to like make a splash in especially the corporate world environment, with the work hard, play hard. I was like, let's share the story. So I shared the story, 3 paragraphs, a picture of my daughter, talked about Boston, all this stuff. And then I woke up that next morning and I just couldn't believe my phone. Like, it was just so many messages, and I was like, holy smokes, I didn't expect that at all. It took me a long time to do that. And that's another reason why it's like, I want to share, I want to talk to you today. Maybe one person hears, my story. It's like, hey, I can make a change today. I don't need to wait. It's not sober versus not sober. Be a bit more self-aware and think about it, because we're all on, like, I find, autopilot, where we're just going through the motions, right? We're working, we're coming home, we're celebrating, we're drinking. Like, we don't even think about drinking. It's just like, that's what we do. We go to a wedding, open bar. We just naturally gravitate, and we get plastered. That's what we do. But like, taking that step back and just, how do you feel? How is it impacting your life? Like, what are the pros and cons? What's the risk reward? It's just being more like aware and intentional and deliberate. And for me, my answer is sobriety, because I did for years try to moderate, and I just got to know myself. And it's actually, I find so much easier to just not drink at all than it is to like try to like slow down. I spent a lot of energy, going through the motions my entire life, being held back by fear my entire life, being like in my own thoughts, that social anxiety. How are people looking at me? How are they judging me? How am I fitting in? And it's just like, I feel like I'm just going for it. I'm taking a chance on myself, and I'm trying new things. Like, this whole running experience for me, I hated running. In school, in university, I hated running. And now, like, I run marathons for fun. I find that, like, that self-discovery, that self-actualization, like, that's exactly what it is. This journey is more about self-discovery than anything else. You put down that drink or the drugs, it's like, you have no choice but to learn about yourself. And then it's like that actualization. It's like you're slowly working towards being the best version of yourself. It's like being better than you were yesterday. That's not striving for perfection. It's not about that. It's just about being better than you were, and like really doing things that bring you joy. You have pride in your identity, you'll like do anything to protect it. And that's how I feel when I made that shift, right? About now it's like, I identify, my identity is like a sober athlete, a sober runner, a sober dad, a sober husband. And that is like, I feel it's such a big part of who I am. So now that I have pride and all those things, I'm proud that I don't drink. I love it. I like to be different. In fact, I don't want to blend in. Nothing about me is average. Mediocrity scares me. And I find like, if you're gonna drink, chances are you're gonna just blend in and coast through life, go through the motion. But no, I wanna stand out. I wanna do things. I wanna take chances. And I find that new life in me, honestly, is because of my sobriety. Sobriety is a marathon. It's not like a quick fix crash course, like, let's just do it fast. No, it's like, you got to put the work in, consistency over intensity. I find that the easiest part is just not using and not drinking. That's easy. I mean, it's hard, but that's the easy part. It's doing this, identity shift, that self-discovery, the self-actualization, putting in the work, being comfortable in the uncomfortable, like facing those things head on, facing those demons, like head on, not escaping. That's hard. But once you do that and you have a breakthrough, it's like, what else can you do? This community, coaching, group, there's so many resources today. It's never been, more, I feel more like okay to be sober. Like society's come a long way. I really feel that at one point saying no to a drink will be like saying no to a smoke. Like there's no follow-up question. It's like, okay, cool, you don't smoke. It's like, I feel like drinking is still a bit of ways from that, but I feel like it will get there. It really will get there. And it's just such a beautiful life. And rather than thinking of like, what am I going to lose? There's a big thing like, what am I going to do for fun? Am I going to lose my friends? Is my partner still going to love me? All these things. But it's like, what are you going to gain? What are you going to gain? And that's the biggest thing. Focus on what are you going to gain, and be open-minded.
I'm a fucking animal!